Good evening and welcome to the webcast. I'm Keith Avalone from PLAAY Games. This is the PLAAY Games Thursday night Play Space Live, and thank you for tuning in tonight. We're going to demonstrate a game I've been working on. It's not really a game. It's sort of a mini game, sort of a game concept, I guess, called Second Season Quick. I'm calling it Second Season Quick for lack of a better name. But the idea is it's a fast-playing version of our football game Second Season, and the thinking behind it is kind of the next step beyond the late game scenario generator that I came up with. I believe it was a year and a half ago, where you'd roll dice. And it would set the game up for you in the last 5 minutes or 4 minutes, and you'd play out the game with the full charts and everything like that. The idea being a more condensed game time, because a football game by definition is going to have 120 scrimmage plays to run, and if you're taking any time at all, regardless of whether you're talking about second season or any football game, it just takes time to play a football game because there's so many plays to resolve. So in order to come up with a more compact game time, I came up with the late game scenario generator, which basically takes you to 5 minutes left in the game. And then you play out. It gives you a scenario, one team, it gives you the score and the field position, and then you finish the game. The problem with it, and it's not a problem really, I mean, it's what I set up from the very beginning. It assumes that the game is going to be competitive and close at the end of the game. I mean, the thinking being, why would you want to simulate, the last 5 minutes of a blowout? So the late game scenario generator necessarily delivers a close game. And then you play out the rest of the game with the full play mechanism from second season. So, of course, naturally, people are saying, well, what if the game isn't close? Maybe you could come up with something to simulate that. So that kind of got my brain ticking, and I came up with this idea that we're going to show you tonight. It essentially uses the same second season game engine, just sort of condensed and distilled. So you're going to be calling plays, or I will be calling the plays, and defenses similar to what you would do in second season. You only have two offensive plays. You get a run play or a pass play. And it's not really a play. It's more like a sequence of plays. You're playing the game in chunks of action. You're not really resolving individual plays. You'll get a play result, which will tell you how much was gained. The game doesn't play with yards. It plays with zones. So there are 9 zones on the field, and you move from zone to zone. A sequence result will tell you, maybe you gain 3 zones, or maybe you only gain 1. So you're resolving the action. It's kind of generic and abstract, but you are using the second season game engine, the team sheets, the player ratings to determine the action. So players that are rated superior on the pass are going to make pass plays. They're going to make the big plays that are going to generate gains for their offense. The same thing with the defense. The defenders that are superior will make defensive plays that will stop drives, and conversely, the inferior players play like you would expect them to as well. It's just you have fewer things to resolve, and the action is more condensed, and it's generated in chunks rather than individual plays. So that's what we're going to do. There are 4 different defenses, just like in regular second season: pass, safe, run, and blitz. We use the same die rolling sequence for the auto defense caller, which I'll use tonight, and I will call plays arbitrarily in terms of run or pass for the different teams. Now, we're going to play the 1957 Broncos and the 1957 Rams, and we immediately got a lot of questions as to, wait a minute, the Broncos weren't around in 1957. That is correct. A couple of years ago, I came up with a sort of a hybrid, not exactly fictional set for the sort of a supplement to the 1957 NFL set that we put out. Essentially, when I was putting together the 57 NFL, I realized how many players went on to play in the AFL, and the thought just kind of popped into my head: what if the AFL had started a few years earlier? And in fact, in researching it, it very well could have, but didn't. So I spent quite a bit of time going through the Pro Football Archives, coming up with names and players, and essentially, Reader's Digest version, I came up with 8 teams stocked with players who could have played and would have played in a 1957 version of the American Football League, and then I rated them relative to the NFL. So obviously, they're not on par with NFL teams. So that's where the 57 AFL teams came from. And really, the reason I chose to use the 57 AFL was so I could have an excuse to wear this really cool T-shirt that I got for Christmas, which is kind of retro Broncos, using their old brown and gold colors, which they only used in 1960. I think they might have used them in 61 as well. I'm not sure exactly when they switched to orange and blue. Anyway, gave me an opportunity to wear this, and also to kind of relive the 57 Broncos season. I played the entire season out myself, all 14 games. I made a 14-game schedule. They played every team twice, and it was really one of my most fun tabletop projects ever. My goal in playing them was to get them to 7-7. I rated them as the Broncos kind of were when they first started out. Not terribly good, but I thought if I could outcoach the opposition, I might be able to get them to 7-7. So midway through the season, after 8 games, I was 4 wins, 3 losses, and a tie. And I'm thinking I'm coach of the year. And then came the 6-game losing streak. So we finished 4-9-1 and in the basement of the Western Division, but it was still a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get to the game. And I'll sort of just explain this as I go along. Hopefully you'll catch on. If you played second season, you'll probably understand this fairly well. A lot of what I'm doing will involve single die rolls to determine results. In other words, like for kickoffs. You don't roll for the kickoff and the return. You just roll for field position, which will tell you, basically where the returning team is going to take over the ball and start their possession. So now, I originally played this game, as you can see here, I have this set up with little circles here where you'd have a token and you'd mark out the 50. They're played in 1-minute segments where you'd mark it down from 15 minutes to 1 minute. But I found that it actually is easier to track on a score sheet. So I made a score sheet based on the, actually I took the lacrosse game score sheet, which is also in 15-minute increments. So there's 60 boxes here, and I'm just going to write down what happens in each box, and when we get to the end, the game's over. So here's the first quarter, here's the second quarter, and so on. Now, I will tell you in advance that I have not come up with 2-minute warning rules, so if it gets important, we'll just kind of wing it. And I also want to emphasize that this is not a complete game or a finished game by any stretch of the imagination. This is just some ideas that I have. And so there very well could be some stuff happening here that's, might not seem very realistic or, all bets are off in terms of this game. It's not a finished game. It's not coming out next week. It's just a concept that I'm working with. One final thought about choosing the 57 Broncos and the 57 Rams. I thought about what would be the best way to show this game idea off, and I thought having 2 equal teams probably would not really show much. So I specifically chose the Broncos, who are not very good, a very poor AFL team, very poor team in a very poor league, against the Rams, who are kind of a medium team. They were 6-6 in 57, so they're not great, they're not horrible. So from the outset, this should be a fairly easy Rams win if this game idea works as I think it will. All right, we'll see. Okay, I'm going to start the game right now. I'm going to roll for field. Oh, I guess I got to decide who's going to get the kick. High roll will get the kick. Denver's get a 6, 8 for Los Angeles. So Denver will kick off, and that is a mark in the box here. I just write everything in the box. So Denver's going to kick off, and it looks like Los Angeles is going to get the ball in the third zone. So that's somewhere between the 20 and the 35-yard line. So we'll start with the Rams on offense. We're going to do a run sequence against a pass defense. So we roll 2 dice, 31, and that is going to ask, is at least one player rated run 2 in the offensive backfield? So I'm looking at the Rams offensive backfield, and I see Tommy Wilson actually is a 2-, so that's going to be a yes. That's going to be a gain for the Rams. I roll a die. That's going to be a pretty good gain, actually. It's going to be, a gain of 2 zones. So that sequence gains 2 zones for the Rams, plus 2 run, and they'll continue their drive. And that worked pretty well. We'll do another one. And again, the Broncos are in the pass defense. So we roll 25, run sequence versus pass defense. Are there 3 or more players rated 2 on the offense? So let's see. Dwayne Putnam's rated a 2, starting guard for the Rams. Ken Panfill is no longer a 2. He was. Is there anybody else? That's going to be a no. So because there was only 1 player rated 2 on the offense, he's going to get a couple yards, and the drive is still alive. It's not going to move to the next zone. There's a little symbol here on my chart which tells me that they get a third down try here. So they'll pass this time. I better write this down. 0-run LA. So they're going to pass it. And of course, the Broncos are playing a run defense, so this is not very good. 66. And I go to the pass sequence versus run defense. And it asks, are 3 or more defenders rated 2 on the pass? Well, the Broncos defense is horrible, so that would be no. It's going to ask for Van Brocklin's X rating. Is it greater than 8? It actually is 8, so that would be a no. So it's going to be a completion. So Van Brocklin's going to get the first down for the Rams, and it's going to pick up, looks like, 3 zones. 1, 2, 3. So the Rams move +3 on the pass. And they're now inside the Broncos' 10. Try to punch it in on the run. Broncos are playing a safe and a 46. 2 or more linebackers ready to run to. No, there are no 2 linebackers on the Broncos. So that's going to be a gain. So the Rams are going to score. So right off the bat, the Rams get a run TD. And the extra point, I roll a single die. That's good. So it's a 7-0 lead for Los Angeles. All right, so the Los Angeles is going to kick off. We're in the 6th minute of the first quarter. And it's going to put the Broncos on their own 20-ish. So now the Broncos get to run against the Rams defense, which is not horrible. They got a couple of they got Les Richter at middle linebacker, pretty good. Billy Ray Smith, a very young Billy Ray Smith at defensive end. Lamar Lundy is in there, so they got some good players, but they have some holes as well. So the Broncos, let's go ahead and start with a pass, and it's going to be against a safe defense. We roll a 13. Is the passer's CMP grade D or better? Well, Jim Haluska is the starter for the Broncos. He is a D, so that's going to be a completion. So the Broncos are actually going to get some yards. It's going to be an XP on my die roll, and that's going to be a go result. So the Broncos are going to start out with a 4-zone gain. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Denver +4 pass. All right, so now we'll go back to the run offense, and it's against a blitzing defense. We roll a 12. Let's see here. Runner AAA or better? No. So that's going to be a stop. So Denver, no run. And now they're going to try a field goal or punt. It's going to be obviously too close in to punt. The field goal unit, I'm going to have to adjust for era. The field goal chart that I have on this concept game is it's kind of geared towards modern day football with a very high percentage of field goals made. So I'm gonna subtract a zone from each of these field goals just to make it kind of fair, which still means that it's going to be good on on anything but a 1 or a 2. So it's 4. So the Broncos are going to get a field goal on their opening drive, and it is now 7-3 Los Angeles. So here's the kickoff. Rams are going to start here at their 20. So now we move the Rams back to offense. And we'll let them try a pass against a safe defense. 21, it's going to ask, is the passer's CMP grade AA or better? It's not, so that's going to be incomplete, and the Rams will have to punt. The game charts are telling me whether it's a stop or whether they get an extra chance to try for the first down. So a punt, a 1-die roll of a 4 will mean a punt of 4 zones. So LA punt +4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Broncos taking over around their 30 or so. Well, that pass worked pretty well. Let's try another one. And pass defense, though. So the Rams are looking for the pass against a pass sequence. Any player in the offensive backfield rated 2 on the pass. Not for the 57 Broncos, no. So that's going to be incomplete. And they will punt. A 2 is a 3-zone punt. So 1, 2, 3. The Rams are going to take over between their 20 and their 35. And they go back on offense. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a run game established again like we did in the first drive against a blitzing Bronco defense. 26. At least one player rated run 2 on the offensive line. Yes, they do have Dwayne Putnam, so that is going to be a gain. Putnam clears the hole for Tank Younger, and it's a 3-zone pickup against the Bronco blitz. So LA +3 run, and they're threatening again. We'll stick with a run against a pass defense. Not good. 44. 2 or more players rated run 2 on the defensive line. That's a no, so it's another gain. And it's going to be a gain of 1, and that's going to end the period. So 7-3 Rams. And they are at the Denver 15-ish. Let's just go ahead and stick with a run. I got that bull horse, that bull ram backfield, baby bull. What was it called? Something bull backfield. And again, the Broncos are playing a pass defense. 65. Two or more linebackers rated 0. I'm sorry. 2 or more linebackers rated 0 on the run. Actually, no. George Timberlake was a 0, but he comes up to he's a plus 0, so he becomes a 1. That's actually a no. They actually have somebody pretty good there. So he's wrestled down for a small gain, but they do get another play. That was like an early down play. So LA 0 run, they'll take another shot. We'll go for the pass. Against a safe defense, 41. Any tight end or wide receiver for the Rams rated 2 on the pass. Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch rated 1+, so that is going to probably be a touchdown, and it is. So Hirsch for the touchdown. LA TD pass. And the extra point is good. So the Rams now lead 14-3, and we kick off. And it's going to be starting at their own 20 for the Broncos. All right. We are now in the 4th minute of the second period. Well, Broncos, let's try some running. Let's see if they can get something running. Against a run defense for the Rams. 53. At least one linebacker rated run 0 for the Rams. Let's check. No, they're not. It's Dick Doherty, Les Richter, and Larry Morris, all at least a 1. So it's going to be sealed off, and the Broncos are going to have to punt. And it will be a punt. Ooh, it's a pretty good punt for the Broncos. It'll be 4 zones up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Rams take over between their 20 and 35, and we switch the Rams over to offense. Let's try Tommy Wilson up the middle, and another pass defense. The poor Broncos are playing horrible calls. Any linebacker rated 0 on the run. I'm sorry, I was looking on the wrong side. 2 or more linebackers rated run 0. Actually, there's only the one, George Timberlake, and so they're once again going to actually stop him on 2nd down. But they will get another opportunity. They'll try another run for the Rams. Runs, and this time the Broncos are in a run defense. So this run sequence will be at least one linebacker rated run 0. Yes, Timberlake. He's the man that the Rams are picking on, obviously. He is a 0 until he crosses midfield. So that's going to be a gain, and the Rams are going to get a zone gain. So we'll move the Rams up 1, and they'll drive. The drive will continue. Let's mix a pass in here against a safe defense. We roll a 43. 2 or more wide receivers or tight ends rated 0 on the pass. No. So that will be a completion for the Rams. Rams have pretty good skill position players. It's an XP gain, which will be turned into a go gain. This could score 5. Yep. No. Yes, that is going to be a touchdown. It is 8 zones. So a long touchdown pass for the Rams. And we've got a route on our hands. Here's the extra point, and it is good. 21-3 Los Angeles. Well, at least it seems to be working. Here's the kickoff. This time the Broncos will get a little bit better field position. It looks like they will start, let's see, I rolled a 5, which would be zone 3. So they'll start at right around the 35. Down 21-0. They need to put a drive together here. Let's try a pass. Against a safe defense, 51. Any player on the defensive line rated 0 pass. No, they're all pretty good. So that actually is going to be a sack. In this, the way I'm playing it is if you're inside the opposing territory, then it is a zone back. But when you're in your own territory, a sack is just kind of nebulous, no yards lost. So they're going to have to punt again, and they're going to move up 3 zones. 1, 2, 3. Denver punt. All right, here's the Rams. I may have to call up the dogs here if it gets, too out of control. So let's try a run against a pass defense. Come on, Broncos. Let's see. Run sequence versus pass defense, 24. 2 or more players rated run 2 in the offensive backfield. There's one player rated run 2, and that's Tommy Wilson, but nobody else. So that will actually be no gain, and they're going to actually stop the Rams for a 0 run, and the Rams will have to punt. They actually forced a punt. 3 zones. All right, here come the Broncos now at their own 35-ish. See if they can get a score. We'll pass. Against a safe. 21. Is the passer's CMP grade AA or better? No. So that will be an incomplete. At some point on a key down, and they will have to punt. And that will be 4. It's going to be a 4-zone punt. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they got the Rams pinned in their own territory, and they'll just do a clock kill. LA 0 run. So we're at halftime, and the Rams are up 21-3. So the Rams will kick off. Any questions or comments that I can address here at halftime intermission? How much time did that take? It wasn't that long. We're at halftime, and it took I don't know, 15 minutes to get to halftime. Okay.
No, not even, because we talked.
Because I gabbed for probably 10 minutes. Yeah.
Let's see.
That is my son Sam in the background, by the way. He's managing all the video stuff, the stream stuff. Anybody?
We're 27 minutes in. Started 5 minutes before, and then another 7 minutes, and then talked for 10 minutes. So it's been about 10 minutes.
Okay, so there you go. 10 minutes for the half. Let's what time is it right now? Let's mark this and see how long it takes us to get to the end of the game.
It's 6:23 right now.
All right, 6:23. All right, I'm writing that down. 6:23. All right, so the Broncos get the second half kickoff, and they will start right there. They need a score. Let's put a different quarterback in. Let's put Charlie Choo Choo Brackens in. He has a little bit higher X. The X's and the Y's, by the way, and the CMP grades, all these grades do come into play. Just at a much lower rate than in a full game of second season. Okay, here come the Broncos. We're gonna try a run. And it's against a pass defense, so they might get something here. 13, runner AA or better. Actually, OK Ferguson is rated AA, so he's going to go to the XR chart and pick up, 3 zones. So the Broncos, +3 run. So they're now in the Rams' territory. Let's try a pass against a safe defense. 54. It's always risky in this era throwing a pass because the Y grades are so high. Okay, it looks like it's a fumbled snap, so Denver is going to will roll the dice. Odd, they keep it. They don't keep it. So it's a Denver fumble, and LA gets the ball. I tinkered with the frequency. The frequency of fumbles and interceptions should roughly mirror what they would in a full game by kind of amping up the frequency. So it's a fumble for Denver. LA takes over right around their own 40 on offense, and here they're going to go for the throat. They're going to pass against a run defense. This could be trouble for the Broncos. 43. 2 or more wide receivers or tight ends rated 0 pass. That's a no, so it's a completion. And it's going to be an XP. This could go all the way, and it does. Another 5-zone TD pass for LA. They didn't waste any time. I'm just writing this down, and here's the extra point. It is good. 28-3 Los Angeles. Here's the kickoff. Broncos are going to take over here. Well, let's just try to do something. We'll try running the ball against a run defense. Not going good for the Broncos. 2 or more defensive backs rated to run 0. They actually might. Yes, they do. Don Burrows and Del Schaffner for the Rams both rated 0. So they are going to get a gain here of, it's an XR gain too, and it will be a gain of 2 zones. So the Broncos get a little bit of offense. Denver +2 run. Let's stick with let's try a pass. Let's try a pass against a safe. 61. 2 or more DBs rated 0 pass. No, they're actually not too bad. They're all 1s. And the passer's Y is greater than 2, so it's going to be an interception. And interceptions I do like on kickoffs. I do field position, which means it's going to be the same zone. So it was either thrown downfield and run back, or a short pass intercept. It doesn't specify, but Denver's going to have a turnover, their second turnover of the period, and the Rams are going to take over at the 35, up 28-3. All right, here's the run. Let's run it against a run defense. Maybe they can stop at 12. Ooh, is runner AAA or better? No. So no gain. They did stop it. So LA 0 run, and they'll go ahead and punt. It's kind of far out for a 1957 field goal. And that will bounce into the end zone for a touchback. And the Broncos dodge a bullet there. Back on offense. We'll run against a run defense. 54. And it's another fumble. So odd they keep it. Nope, they lose it again. That's their third turnover of the period. Rams take over inside the Bronco 20. And we got Billy Wade in at quarterback now, and he's going to go for a touchdown pass against a blitzing Bronco defense. 23. Two or more players ready to two on the offensive line. I don't think so. In fact, nobody is at this point for the Rams. So that will be possible. Let's see here. Oh, it's a sack and a fumble. So we'll do the sack, LA sack. Now, of course, here, this inside there, it's going to move it back one. And same thing for the Rams. Odd, they're going to keep it. And they don't. So the Broncos get the ball back and again dodge the bullet. And here they go, back on offense. Let's try a pass play against a blitz. 26. Two or more players on the offensive line rated 0 pass. Yes, Mike Davlin and Clem Corona both. So that's going to be another sack. So Denver's sacked, and they will punt 5. It's a good punt at least. Denver punt. And it will go, where's my punt chart? There it is, 4 zones. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the Rams take over. 2 minutes left in the period. We'll run against a safe. 16. Is the runner seer better? Yes, so it's going to be a gain for the Rams. They are going to get 2 zones. LA +2 run. Oh, let's keep it on the ground against a run defense. 42. 2 or more players ready to run 0 on the offensive backfield. Nope. That's going to be another gain. And that's going to be for 1 against a run defense. So +1 run. They're now in Bronco territory. And we move to the fourth quarter with the Rams up 28-3. We'll continue to run sequences against a safe defense. 43. 4 more players rated run 0 on the offense. Now, at some point I probably need to bring the backups in, and that probably would be a yes, but we'll let them get this one last drive. So it'll be a gain of 3 zones. They're almost in again. LA +3 run. And we'll try to cap off the drive against a run defense, though. 45. And it's a fumble. How about that? So odd they keep it. They don't. So LA fumbles the ball at the inside the Bronco 10, so that saves the Broncos a little bit of an embarrassment. So let's try running against a blitz. 33. Let's see. At least 1 run player rated run 0 on the offensive line. Yeah, there's several. So that'll be a missed block and a no gain. So Denver will have to punt, and it will be not that great of a punt. Only 2 zones total. All right, so Denver punt. So the Rams take over at the 30, about the 30-yard line.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Chris Day asks if injuries are going to be a part of.
I haven't built that in. They certainly could, but not at this point. No.
Cool.
Here's a pass. Oh, against the run defense, they're going to try to get that last touchdown, 21. No, it looks like Billy Wade's not a good enough passer to complete that, so it'll be incomplete. But they do get a 3rd down or an extra down. Doesn't determine whether that incompletion happened on either 1st or 2nd down. So they'll get another shot. This time they'll keep it on the ground against a blitz. 62. At least 1 defensive back rated run 0. Yeah, there are a couple back there for the Broncos, so it's going to be a gain. Looks like Richie White missed the tackle. It's a gain of 2 for the Rams. 2 runs, so LA +2 run. And the 7th minute of the 4th period, they're trying to punch it in here against a blitz. 53. At least 1 linebacker rated run 0. This is actually where the one strength that the Broncos have is they've got a decent linebacker crew. So at this point, no, there are no linebackers rated 0. So that's going to be a stop. Sonny Gandy with the stop. And they'll try the field goal. Why not? So a 6 is going to miss, but they make it. So LA field goal makes it 31-3. Here's the kickoff, and again the Broncos will start here. See if the Broncos can get a touchdown. Let's bring Jim Haluska back in there, who's my favorite. By the way, he had a brief career. Jim Haluska had a brief career with the Bears. Wound up, get out of football. Coached high school football in Wisconsin and became like a legend in the state of Wisconsin for his high school football coaching. Big star at the University of Wisconsin, Jim Haluska. So he's back in at quarterback, and they're going to pass against a safe defense. 64. Offense, that's at 63. 64. Any linebacker rated 0 pass. We're going to say that they're playing their backups now because it's 31-3. So that would be a 0. Bob Dougherty's a 0. So they're going to get a gain of, it's going to be an XP gain. How about that? 3 will be a gain of 3 zones. So the Broncos get +3. All right, so they're inside Ram territory. Let's try a run against a safe defense. 65. 2 or more linebackers ready to run 0. Only one of them, actually. They're all 1s, even the backups. A little bit better depth back then. So that will be flattened. However, they could get they're going to get another play, and they don't. So it's a 0 run for Denver. So it's 4th down now. So obviously they're going to go for it. So they do get. I'll give them the extra play. It's 4th down. The play results on these charts, if there's no symbol which gives you, like indicating it happened on an early down, then it's considered to be 4th down. And you could obviously kick or go for it. They're going to go for it. We'll try a run against the safe defense. Here it is for the Broncos, 36. Offensive penalty kills a drive. All right, so Denver offense penalty. So the Rams are going to take over there. We've got 3 minutes left. They're going to just try to run out the clock, give it to Tank Younger up the middle. 11. Is he quadruple A? No. So he's going to be tackled, but they're going to get another down. So that was like 2nd down. They'll try another run play, another safe defense. 23. This time, though, 2 or more players ready to run 2 on the offensive line. Again, this time that's a yes, because Dwayne Putnam is rated 2. He's like an all-pro guard for the Rams. Ken Panfill is 2-, so they are on the other side of the 50. So that is going to be a yes on that play. So it is going to be a gain. It is going to be a 1-zone gain. LA run +1, so that'll give them the chance to just do the kneel down in the game. And our final score is Los Angeles 31, Denver 3. So in one sense, it was great that the game engine seemed to work in generating a pretty plausible result, but it wasn't a very good game. It's kind of a blowout.
Someone asked if this could work for cold snap as well.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely works. It's the same thing. You're abstracting downs. You're really abstracting action. And I need to mention also, had this been a close game, we could have joined it. I brought my full second season material, so at any point you can join. You can join the game and start picking up the action play by play. So had this been 21-20, and the Rams punted to the Broncos, and the Broncos were taking over at their own 30, I'm not restricted to just calling a pass and setting a generic defense and getting a sort of a abstract play call. I can get out my full game materials and play the rest of the game with the actual players play by play, which is what's really cool about it. I mean. It's great in that it allows you, different outcomes than just a close game. Because let's face it, not every football game is close at the end. So it does introduce an element of unpredictability to it. And you could easily do a season project where you're not even you're playing a game of the week, but you're not even having to play the full game of the week. You could play, just the last half or the last quarter of the game of the week, and have a full football fix. So how long did that take us? 6:23. What time is it now?
6:36.
So that was 13 minutes from start to finish. So there you go. All right. Well, that's all I got. We're going to try to keep these broadcasts relatively short because time is money. and your time is valuable too. Everybody's got other stuff they got to do in this busy life of ours. Next week, the same time, we will have the second season 20th anniversary edition unboxing, which will be very exciting. And then the week after that, January 31st, Thursday night, we will have our Super Bowl pre-play. We'll use this game, this game concept to, and Paul Salzgeber, by the way, is putting together the Super Bowl teams, or the final. I think he's doing the Final Four like he did last year. So we'll be actually able to pre-play the Super Bowl, and we'll play it like we just did, with Steve calling defense for the AFC team, and I'll call plays for the NFC team. Unless it's not the Saints, in which case I'll try to barter with Steve. If it's not the Saints and the Patriots, then we may switch conferences. But in any case, one of us will call plays using this second season quick and get us up to like maybe 5 minutes left in the game. If it's close, we'll full play it out. So it will not take too long, and it should be pretty fun, pretty interesting. We'll see how close it comes to the real thing. Thank you for joining us. Fun to be here. Hope you'll make it a habit to join us Thursday night in the Play Space Live. Until next week, we'll see you later.